Teresa Matic with the Investing News Network. Here with me today is Elmer Stewart, President and CEO of Copper Fox Metals. Elmer, thank you for joining me today.
Teresa, it's a pleasure.
Great. So first of all, congratulations on completing your PEA recently. It's really difficult for companies to reach those milestones in this market. And what led to your success here?
The amount of data we got on the project when we first purchased it, Occidental Minerals in the 1970s did a considerable amount of work drilling, and actually they completed 2 in situ leach tests, which is essentially Van Dyke is an in situ leach operation. And the key for us was to being able to confirm that information. We did that in 2014 with some metallurgical test work, and we did that with diamond drilling. And that, in conjunction with being able to demonstrate the value of the property at the time, we figured we had to go forward. Then the next question was, how do we approach this project? Because of its location, because of our concerns on the environment, and then all of the economic concerns at the same time. So what we really had to do was think outside the box, because it allowed us to think about the best way to approach the project. Clearly, we chose the underground option. So in summation, it's basically assess what you got, proper planning, and sometimes you just have to think outside the box to make a project work.
Okay. And one thing I noticed in particular about the PEA is there's a very low cash cost of 60 cents per pound for production. Why so low? Is that just because it's an in situ leach project?
Partially, yes, because in situ leach projects usually have a low cost per produced a pound of copper. They also have low capital costs. They're very environmentally friendly, and I believe that's why they're getting a lot of attention, not only from the industry, but also from the regulators. The other thing is, it's primarily the acid consumption. We have a very low acid consumption. That's a function of the mineralization being hosted in the Pinal schist. It's not in carbonate rock, so a big factor, yes.
Okay. And your release for the PEA mentioned a base case of $3 per pound of copper, and right now the spot price for copper is closer to $2 a pound. So why the difference there?
Difference essentially, we looked at the lead time in the project, and the lead time is a minimum of 3 years. So to forecast use of today's prices would be erroneous. So we did a consensus based on industry, based on the banks, and based on industry groups who studied the copper sector. And 2019, 2020 was $3 was the lowest of the consensus prices, and we felt that was a good price to start using our value project, because that's essentially, if it goes forward, that would be the earliest the project would come on production.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. That said, will you still look at lower price case scenarios?
We've done that, but I think before we start getting too carried away with looking at lower price scenarios, essentially we have a lot of things we need to confirm, and that would be the next phase of projects. But even at today's prices, if we use lower prices of copper, the project still gives us the same general answer. It warrants further investment even at these prices. So, and that was the fundamental question the PEA was asked to tell us in the first place. Does it warrant more investment?
Okay, right. And on a similar note, what are your thoughts on the copper price moving into 2016?
I'm not saying I'm quite bullish, but I am optimistic that prices are going to go up in 2016, basically because I believe that China is going to continue to import more copper, which is statistics showing that. I think India is going to become a bigger player. The US economy, the European economy, the African economy are all increasing, expected to grow next year north of 3% worldwide. One of the things with supply disruptions out there we see right now, declining head grades, deliverability, weather, force majeure events. I think that all bodes well for bringing the copper supply down. And right now, even some of the international study groups are showing or predicting a balanced or a deficit in early 2016. So with what we face with from a physical day-to-day issue and increasing demand overall, I think we're going to be going into a deficit sooner than people expect out there.
Okay, that's good for copper investors to hear, I suppose.
It is if you have good projects.
All right. And speaking of good projects, Van Dyke isn't the only project you have. You also have your Shaft Creek, which you have a joint venture with Teck Resources for. How is that progressing?
Well, I'd like to say Teck is doing a great job of being the operator of the Shaft Creek project. Very pleased with them. We're working on optimization studies, which we hope to have completed by the end of 2015. And that being said, then we're hoping to have our first JV meeting of the year in January. And by that time, we hopefully will be able to put out the results of the optimization work. And so we'll look forward to see what the joint venture will be doing.
Okay. And one final question. What will your next steps be at Van Dyke following the PEA?
The Van Dyke project, as I mentioned earlier, is an ISL project. So we use the SX-EW process to recover the copper. And it will be a grade A cathode copper, so you ship it directly to the end users. There are 4 mines in the immediate vicinity, all of which have permitted, constructed, fully usable SX-EW plants. My first move after we finish the technical report will be go to contact these 4 companies to see if they're interested in doing some kind of a transaction with us. And clearly at the same time, we will be engaging the town of Miami and the town council and engaging the Arizona and federal environmental groups to see where we go for the next stage of the project.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining me, Elmer.
You're welcome.
I'm Teresa Matic with the Investing News Network.